Three media.
Well, prepare yourself, guys. Chris with Talking Through the Media is your home for entertainment news by fans, for fans. I'm your host, Chris Fagan. It's Wednesday again, and you know what that means, guys. It's
Media.
it's a time for me to mess up. It's a time for me to mess up the microphone. I was hearing an echo in my ear, so let me try that. Let me pretend like that didn't happen. 3, 2, 1, and I'm back. All right, guys. So you guys are in for a treat. We're joined by. I want to introduce to you to this panel of Venom Watcher. What do we call ourselves? Team Venom 2? What is? I don't know. We'll figure it out during the show. But we're
Amanda's Team Marvel.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we're joined by a special guest. I want to introduce Amanda. Is it? I see your display at the bottom. Is it fire?
Oh, yeah, that happens. Yeah, that's my legal name.
But,
hold on, I'll rename myself.
But you guys know her from TikTok. Look, let me. I was just telling her, look, don't worry about the intro. I got you, Amanda. This is the conqueror of Marvel Studios, right? We're in the presence of this woman right here. Look TikTok in the eye, and TikTok blinked. This lady right here before you said, "I will not be denied. My geekdom, my nerdism is so strong. The world." Well, I swear to God, this woman has invented the Infinity Stones. That's what I'm telling you. She is conquering all the TikTok. It's hilarious. It's all the people that I wish would follow me are always talking great about her. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask her to get on the show. And she said, well, the check cleared, so she's here. And so, guys, Amanda, you guys know her. It's Amanda Just Vibing, right? Is where
yes,
you can find you.
Amanda Just Vibing.
Just vibing. See, and that was one of the things that I liked about her name, because I'm all about the good vibes. And also joining us is just Jameson.
Just Jameson.
Hey, buddy. What's going on, Jameson? I appreciate you coming back, man.
Hey, just happy to be here.
You're usually with us, Jameson. I know you're usually with us on the Thursday shows. We talk more about entertainment news on Wednesday, and we mix it up with some movie talk and whatnot. And then on Thursdays, I try to make it more about the movie stuff. But this time it's going to be different. So since this time, we're going to be focusing on just one movie in particular. So as you guys have been seeing me online begging you guys, come on, watch it. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to be talking about Venom. Spoiler review of Venom. So this is an open spoilers discussion of Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. So we're good. So if you haven't seen it by now, then prepare yourself, because all three of us are going to do a live reenactment of the whole movie. I will be playing all the parts, and they will be encouraged. No, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna do our little speculations and give our thoughts and our little review of the movie. And we want you guys, if you're watching us live, share your thoughts. I'm watching the comment section, so chime in, and let's, like I always say, guys, let's keep talking. If you want to check out our show, if after we finish airing it and you don't have time to watch it on YouTube, you can also catch us on podcast. We are on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Spotify. So if one of those are your favorite platforms of podcasts, click the button, join it, and say Amanda sent me. So, because I get 5 cents every time you guys say that. We're working out our contract. Don't worry about it, guys. We're worried, but we're gonna get into. Let me try to. If you guys will indulge me real quick, I'm going to try to fix the camera so the display will make sense while we're talking. I'm gonna have Venom in the background, and there. Okay, they can't see what I just did, but you guys can see. I have Venom and Carnage, the poster behind us as we're talking. So no lower third. I know the graphics don't look the same the way they normally do. And like I said, I'm watching the chat. So if you guys can chime in and let me know what you guys are thinking, it's gonna display on the bottom right corner of the talk. And if you guys in the panel can't. If you're not watching YouTube while we're talking, I'll let you know if anybody has anything to say to one of us. If they say, "Hey, Amanda, I saw you on TikTok," I'll stop the show and let you know what they're saying. So,
gotcha.
All right. So now that we know the rules, Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. Who wants to go first?
Okay.
What were your thoughts?
Alrighty, so I'm gonna preface it by saying that like I got to see it early. I actually got to see it that Monday. Hold on, wait, it's what day was it? I got to see it on the 27th of September. IMAX was awesome. They invited me, and so I saw it as a pre-screener, and I had to hold in all of my spoilers for what felt like forever.
How did that? How did that feel?
I wanted to talk about it so badly. Like my friends were like, "Was it good?" All I could say was that I liked it, and I couldn't say any. I wanted to talk about it so badly, and I couldn't talk about it with anyone except for the people I saw it with. And I was like, "Oh!"
So they did have an embargo on it. I think I even reached out to you and I asked if was it you that I reached out to and said, was there an embargo? Did you get that message?
Yeah. So I basically just like I couldn't say anything until like other people saw it, like even past that. So like I was just completely like zip mouth, like knowing this information. And like my husband came with me, so he saw it with me. And I was like, I'm just saying all these things. And he's just like, I just wanted to watch the movie. Like so I was just nerding out by myself in silence, just like dying for my friends to see it. So overall, I am the type of person I like to go to the movies and I like to be entertained and I like to have fun.
Right.
So like I'm not always expecting like a cinematic masterpiece. You know what I mean? I like to go to, especially comic book movies, like superhero movies. I like to have fun first and foremost. And I had a really good time watching it. I laughed a lot. And it almost reminded me of a rom-com. Like it was like a really just super powered, very weird rom-com. And like I enjoyed the effects. I think it could have benefited from an R rating. I think it being PG-13 kind of held it back because just the nature of Venom and Carnage and the nature of like the subject matter, I feel like it should have been rated R. But as far as the movie as a whole, I had a great time. I laughed a lot. I did like it better than the first one. I saw the first one twice when it came out, with two different groups of friends, and I really enjoyed the first one, even though it was just it was so weird and it was so like, it was just a fun movie. That's all it was. But I do think this one was better. It was very fast paced. It put a lot into 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's not. It
felt like
it was shorter than the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like there was. By the time you registered what happened in like one act, the other act was already starting. So like I would blink my eyes and be like, "Oh, we're there already? That's okay, cool." So you kind of had to like keep up with it because it was very, very fast. I do like the dynamic between like Eddie and Venom again. It was very much like weird roommates, and they were roommates. Oh my god, they were roommates. And it just and then the after credit scene, I audibly screamed. Like there was a scream that ripped throughout the theater, and it was so funny because on one of Straw Hat Goofy's post, one of the people who was also there commented like, "Did you hear the scream in the theater?" And I replied back, "It was me. I screamed."
Wait, you were there with other people from TikTok?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I have. Okay, so before the show ends later, I got questions, but we'll talk off air on that. But
Got it.
real quick. So Jameson, you saw it. You got to see it too, but you got to see it after it aired. I'm sorry, after it on Friday. I'm sorry, when everybody else got to see it. You saw it on the weekend, right? What did you think about it overall?
I actually just saw it. Like 2 hours ago.
Oh, really? I thought.
Wow.
Oh, I thought
2 or 3 hours ago. Yeah.
Really?
No, yeah. So I saw it in 3D. Just there was like 3 other people in the theater with me. But I agree with Amanda that it would have been. I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. I loved the. I was just thinking about the amount of work that they had to have put into, the Carnage and Venom fight scenes and animating all of that, and it was really, really cool looking. Definitely something they couldn't have done like 20 years ago. Well, but I agree that it would have been cooler if it was a little darker and R-rated. Like it was cool having the humor, but if they could have made it a little darker, because the subject of Venom and Carnage is pretty dark. Well, and especially Carnage. I mean, he said the lines in there a couple times, like, "Oh, I am Carnage," or "I'm going to bring Carnage," or something like that. But I was noticing like all the bodies, like it was just
Very
that-
bloodless.
Yeah, it was there were bodies laying all over, right? But there wasn't blood everywhere, you know.
Well,
And
yeah,
I,
it was.
and
It's almost as if
I-
it was PG-13.
yeah. But I mean, like you know, a more Mortal Kombat kind of vibe, just
Right.
blood everywhere. Because it's like you got his name's Carnage, and he's a serial killer, and he's supposed to just wreak havoc. And if I'm thinking havoc, you know, like after he broke his girl out of that facility, and you saw the bodies laying everywhere, I'm like, there's no blood anywhere, and they're still intact. Like he was, you know, like did a tornado in there and stuff. I'm like, you should have seen limbs everywhere, and you know.
There was
Just
no
a lot
there
more-
was
a
no
lot more
budget for
gore and
limbs.
carnage.
No budget.
There was no budget for limbs. But overall, what did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I liked it. But yeah, I wish it was a little more R-rated, and I wish it was a little longer too. It seemed like it ended, and I was like, never. She's never. No, but the other one was definitely, if you know, it was longer, they were able to do more with it, and this one, like, it's such a cool story.
Right.
I feel like they could have added more to it, and we wouldn't have been bored and been sitting there thinking, oh, it's too long, you know, like, yeah, it kind of ended, and I was like, But
you wanted so you overall you wanted more from it.
yeah, because it was cool. Now, one question I do have is, why is Venom so fucking messy? Like,
I have a theory about that. I think all that messiness, I think he was just messing with Eddie the whole time.
no, but they live like that. He's making breakfast, and just shit is going everywhere. And he brings it back, and I'm
Here's
like,
the argument against that. Remember when Eddie took over? I mean, Venom took over Eddie's hands, and he did that from memory. He was able to, like Picasso, just draw what he saw on the wall.
Yeah,
you can't tell me that he can be that
dexterity.
precise. He's that detailed, that precise, that in control. But
so
he's just
why is he so messy?
I think he was messing with it. What do you think about it? Was Venom just messing with Eddie?
Okay, so first of all, if my memory like,
because you saw
treats
it
me
like
correctly right now.
saw it like a year ago, so yeah.
In the first, that's another thing too. I need to rewatch it because like I'm the type of person where like I watch things for entertainment first, and then for like analytics second.
Right.
So like I still haven't seen it a second time.
Right.
But if my memory suits me correctly, after Eddie moved out from like living with Anne, he was also like super messy. Like he was just a mess of a person. But like, I mean, same. But I think it's just kind of amplified. That's another thing too. I love how Eddie always looks like he looks like crap all the time.
Yeah,
he's sweating the whole movie.
That was consistent. I think that's just a Tom Hardy thing.
He looks like he's always sweaty and like on the verge of a meltdown all the time.
He's probably
so funny.
He's probably constantly on set trying not to make the same mistakes he was making on during Mad Max and stuff. Like, is Charlize here? Okay. Oh, gotta keep it under control, Tom.
It's so funny because it's such a different vibe from Mad Max too. I remember I love Mad Max, but like I feel like I kind of like what Jameson's saying, where Venom's just kind of messing with him. Like he's just they're both a mess, and then when they're together, it's just an amplified mess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even after Eddie fixed his apartment, it still looked pretty rough, you know? Like after he fixed everything, after he like vacuumed everything and like patched up the walls, it still looked like a mess of an apartment.
I mean, the cost of living in San Francisco is pretty expensive, you know? I mean,
and that's another thing too. I'm just like, dude, he invested in a TV and he invested in like an expensive ass bike, but he still lives in like a closet.
A cost of living's got to be crazy.
Yeah.
That's San Francisco. I mean, Venom was just that TV budget must have been crazy because that was
it was a $2,000 TV.
I think they were lying about that. That was just Sony trying to sell TVs. Let's stop pretending.
It was product placement.
Let's stop pretending who invent. I got a Sony tripod holding my camera up right now. So I know Sony's game. So. Okay,
but the new TV he bought wasn't a Sony. I actually noticed that because they had the box there. I'm like,
really?
that's a good product placement. Yeah.
What was it?
It was some like
A Vizio?
VI. It was some brand I'd never heard of,
So-
Huh.
like Gavia or something. I don't know.
Vizio. It was probably. I bet
It
was probably a
It
Vizio.
wasn't Vizio because I recognized Vizio. I would have, it was something I'd never heard of.
Walmart Great Value TV. That's probably what
Probably,
it was.
yeah.
Maybe it was a made up brand so they didn't have to pay anybody.
Probably,
Yeah,
but
maybe.
They do that all the time.
But Sony,
but they
Sony's
conveniently
right
had the
there.
box out there.
Yeah, but okay, so I got you guys thoughts. So overall, you guys liked it. All right, let me rain on this parade.
Okay.
I'm not,
Spill the tea.
It's
Well, I mean, there were things I didn't like about it.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Things I thought, just like with the storyline too. Well, I mean, first, so you brought up like how he was able to draw something so fast.
right.
I'm like, why is he a fucking journalist? You could be like Picasso. You could make a ton of money being an artist.
That
you
was
know?
a good skill,
Like-
or at least Venom could.
or a million other things. Yeah, it's like he's. I felt like he was living way below his potential. Then when Carnage became Carnage, and I was like, man, he's doing it right. He's not sitting there like sulking and like sweating all the time. He's doing what he wants.
He was there. They were about to live the dream. But
Yeah.
when I watched, I put this up on my. It took me a couple of days for me to write my review. I didn't do I wanted this to be the first time I got on this channel and talked about Venom, because I usually watch a movie and then I'll immediately come up on the channel and I'll do my review. And for some reason, I didn't have the urge to. When on Venom 1, I was with my friend Sean. We saw it. My expectations were low. I kept them low. I was still hurt about what happened in Spider-Man 3. But when I watched the movie, I purposely did not say a word after we watched the movie. After when we walked out of the theater, we went to a space to record our review. And the first words that came out of my mouth was I was pleasantly surprised. And my friend Sean was like, he was shocked at how much I love this movie, because he was expecting me to poo-poo on it. Now, I did not hate this movie, Venom 2, but the way I feel about Venom 2 is what I expected to feel about Venom 1. Mm-hmm. It's like for some reason it was flipped. The things that that worked so well in Venom 1, the whole the friendship between Eddie and Venom, it's understandable. I know even in the comics, Venom loves Eddie. He protects him. He cares for him. People are thinking that that's the reason that the movie is not going to be good, because the whole relationship between Eddie and Venom is so dialed out. No, that is Venom. I mean, yeah, he's more lethal in the comic books, but it's the comic books. But they did capture that they do have a bond, and they captured that very well in the first one, and I think they captured it well in the second one. But it was just that it felt like the problems with, and this is what I wrote in my review, the problems that people were saying that were happening in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 felt like they were happening again in Venom 2. Like the fact that it felt to me like we couldn't stay consistent on who this movie was targeted to. Is it targeted to just being a comedy? I know the first one was a little funny and everything, but it felt like they were more leaning on the whole ketchup spilling, breaking your nose and just being bad roommates kind of a movie. And then at other times it was extremely serious. That reminded me of the problems that I was having with Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was like, who are you trying to make this movie for? Little bitty kids for Sesame Street, or breaking the love of your life's neck because you didn't save her in time? Like, it was like, whoa, everything was like, to me, it was just too jarring. We were getting super, super silly, and then on the top of a hat, we're murdering 50 cops in a prison and stuff. Like it just felt like all over the place.
All dissonance.
But the other thing that I kind of felt like I had a problem with was what people were complaining about with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. How we were forcing the whole notion of we've been wanting Spider-Man and Venom to fight for so long. I felt like I don't know why I got those vibes again. The problems that we were all saying that were going on in Spider-Man 3, and the problems that people were saying in Amazing Spider-Man 2, I felt a little bit of both of that for some reason in this movie. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. But the things I did not like about the movie was everything with Venom and Eddie. I loved everything else. I loved Carnage. I loved Shriek. I loved everything else. But I did not like Eddie and Venom in this. And it was their damn movie. And I don't know why I did not. But that's That's my quick little review. So you guys in the comment section, prepare to hate on me. Bring it on. Come on, nerds. I'm ready for it. Bring the heat. Well, what do you guys think about that? About my.
Well, I mean, going back to the whole R-rated thing, like you said, you kind of felt like you didn't know where it was marketed to, and I think part of that is because there were all these dark things happening, but it's like they did them, but they didn't commit fully to them. So it's like you could have gone really dark with it, because she died. She got smashed by the church bell, right? Super.
Shriek is still alive.
But they didn't really revisit that. It was just kind of like it happened, and then there wasn't. I didn't feel like as much of an emotional connection to this movie as I thought I was going to, and as I had for the first one. And I think a lot of it was just like the character development and then things happening. And it's like they didn't, there should have been more gore, more things where like you feel it. And going to Squid Games, it's like I just finished watching Squid Games, and it's like had very.
We're not talking about Squid Games yet because Amanda hasn't seen it.
Yeah, not yet. But I mean, just finishing watching that and the level of writing and the gore that was in that, like that took you to places. And it's like then I came and saw this, and I'm like, okay, it was a good, goofy action movie.
Yeah.
But I was hoping there would be more of a relationship building with Brock and what's his name? Carnage.
Cassidy? Cassidy?
Yes, Cassidy. And like they interacted a couple times, but it wasn't enough. And Cassidy was like, well, I just wanted you to be my friend. But
that part
wasn't.
Was understandable, but at the same time it felt weird.
Yeah.
Me. I don't know why. Let's lean in on that.
I kind of want to talk about that too. That was one of the things I was going to bring up that was kind of off to me, because that was one of the things where it's like all I wanted was your friendship, but it's like, but at the same time, y'all weren't close enough to be friends. You know what I mean?
Dude, I don't know you. You're a serial killer, and you bit me. I'm not going to be your friend.
And so they should have built that more, and like they should have had more dialogue leading up to that, where it's like, I want this, but then that kind of did come out of the blue because they didn't develop it earlier on. So it's like you could have had an extra 30 minutes making it darker and having more interaction with them, like on a human level, before all the fighting.
A better example of like a serial killer versus like good protagonist relationship would have looked like see Silence of the Lambs, basically, where it's like you can kind of see that mutual understanding between Clarice and Hannibal, where it's like, Hannibal's an awful icky person, and like Clarice is obviously trying to bring down someone else with the help of Hannibal. However, they still have this kind of understanding with each other.
Right.
They should have kind of went that route if they wanted us to believe that Cassidy wanted to be
Eddie's friendship.
Friends with Eddie.
Yeah.
Because other than that, we just got Carnage, and Cassidy being a freaking jerk to him, basically, like all the time. There was no fondness, and that's the thing. There needed to be fondness. There needed to be some kind of mutual respect between the two, despite the fact that they were enemies.
Exactly.
That's what it was missing.
That whole line made no sense to me, because that's where an extra, like you said, 15, 20 minutes of constant like solving of the mysteries, like you said, perfect example, Silence of the Lamb style, that and more interactions. But every time for the little times that we did see Venom and Eddie and Cassidy interact, just like Jameson said, it was too short for one, brief. And it was very brief, and each time it was constant. Forget the cage that was between them. There was no like, Eddie didn't respect him as a human. No. He's just getting an interview from a serial killer. There was no moment where we got Cassidy's past story, and real quick, the way they quickly and briefly gave us his past story was done perfectly. I love the timing of the animation part. That was perfect.
That was a really cool sequence.
But it wasn't. But we didn't get enough of a moment where Eddie could hear something that Cassidy would say during those interviews where Eddie would go like, huh, or something like, or like, okay, I see, like kind of like understand Cassidy in a small little brief little human way to make that line make sense at the end. It was just, I needed a friend. Like, why the fuck did you bite me? Like, what the fuck? Like,
They should have gone in more on the fact that both Cassidy and Eddie are from families who didn't really love and support them.
They could have gone there.
Been the bonding point. They
We're-
brought it up and then they did
they
nothing
went
with
straight
it.
past it. Exactly.
They went straight past it.
Yeah.
What they should have done is gone in on that and been like, hey, your dad like didn't like you and didn't want you because of like the loss of your mother, and my parents felt the same way. They thought I was a monster. They thought that I was the source of all their problems. They needed to bond over that, have the mutual understanding and respect over that, and then I would have
bonding over their similarities. That would have
I would have more so believed that Cassidy was ultimately looking for friendship despite doing it in a very twisted serial killer fashion, basically.
Yeah.
And
what's it, real quick, Granda Legend says she has majestic eyebrows. You're getting compliments on your eyebrows right now.
Thank you. I did nothing to them.
Majestic.
I'm wearing no makeup right now.
I never get complimented on my eyebrows. This is my channel. I've been doing this channel for years. No one ever compliments me. Nobody ever says, "Hey, Chris, you look very well rested today." Everybody always gets on this channel and goes, "This guy again?" That's all they say to me. I don't get it. That's why I have guests on this show, because people just hate. You're a bunch of haters. I don't know why I did to you. Because I'm always talking shit. That's probably why. But moving on let's go to the topic real quick. What did you guys think about who else we want to talk about real quick? Shriek. We brought Shriek.
Well, I do have one thing with the so that theme that they were bringing up. To me, that was one of my big takeaways from it was that they could have done more talking about with and they could have done it through building the relationship through both of them, in the jail cell. But they brought it up, and I feel like the director, whoever the writer, wanted to make it kind of a theme about mental health and how we treat people, and how not Eddie Brock, I keep forgetting his name, but Carnage, basically how he was a product of his environment.
Mm-hmm.
And they touched on it lightly, but what I thought was interesting is, I don't know if you guys have seen on Netflix this series called Monsters Inside. It's about this guy called Billy Milligan, and he's a schizophrenic person, and he was locked up because he was attacking women on college campuses, but he had serious mental health issues where he would have different personalities, and there was like a couple of he had 24 personalities.
Oh, that's
total.
DID. I believe that's dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah. Dissociative. Yeah. And so he had these different personalities, and some of the personalities would do things to people, and he didn't have control over it. And so he would, black out and then wake up and, not know where he's at and not realize what he'd done. And so when they took him to jail, he was just confused. A couple of his personalities were just really confused, and like, well, people are saying I did things and I didn't realize I did them. And the whole thing, watching the interactions between, the symbiotes in their human form, I'm like, that's almost like DID in an effect. Like, they have these different personalities that they're not in control of. And when he was, you saw the struggle of when Carnage was killing, what was her name? Siren?
Mm-hmm.
Shriek. When he was killing her, and then, man, I'm so bad with names right now. Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
So Cassidy is like, no, don't do that. Why are you doing that? That's my wife, and but he doesn't have control over this other part of him. Right. And I was like, man, that's kind of like DID in a sense, like, except for his other consciousness is conscious at the same time, and so they're going back and forth.
Yeah, I remember that part. Carnage warned him, like, if she does her powers again, I'm gonna rip her face off.
Yeah,
that was interesting to me.
But he still didn't have control over it, and so he's trying to, he appreciates the powers, but and what they're doing for him, but then he's at odds with them too. And the whole time I was thinking, I'm like, man, this is kind of like Billy Milligan, and the reason that Billy Milligan developed all those personalities was from trauma in his childhood. He was severely abused, and so Carnage brings up at the end, he's like, hey, you left out half of my story. You left out, I killed my mom because she did this. I killed my grandma because she was abusing me. It's like, all this stuff happened to me, and all, and then they locked me up in this house with these kids. He's like, I turned out bad because, I was beaten and well, not just the system, but his upbringing, the trauma from his family, his grandma, his mom, his dad. He's like, I did these, like, I wasn't just, doing them for no reason. Like I snapped and did these things because of that. And then they locked me away in this place. And it's like basically my family and the system kind of like I'm a product of that in a lot of ways. And the system screwed up and they just kept me like that. And then they're going to, just get rid of me at the end of it. So it's like, I feel like maybe the director and writer wanted to make that a theme, but then it was kind of just, it popped up. It was there for like 15, 20 minutes. And then it's like, okay, we're just going to, go back to the action again.
Right.
But it's like they could have made it more like that with some really good writing, really talked about, social issues. But it was just kind of there. And it's like, okay, brought it up, going away.
I do believe, because I'll kind of like interject with that also, is that I believe that a lot of the time, especially with mental illness, because in real life, at least, mental illness it tends to make people with the illness victims more so than the perpetrators. So again, DID is a trauma response. You cannot have DID. I'm not a licensed anything, but from what I've seen from people with DID, from what I've seen from what they've talked about on either their pages, their channels, their anything, is that it is a trauma response, and you can't have DID without some sort of trauma that happened to cause this to happen. And I think something that the reason why probably they didn't go in on that is because you can run into the Shyamalan issue, and I call it the Shyamalan issue, in which you villainize mental illness rather than what causes the mental illness, or rather than like the actual mental illness itself. Because again, in real life, people with mental illnesses are much more likely to be the victim than they are to be the perpetrator. So people with DID typically aren't violent. That's kind of a rumor that some, I'm not saying that none of them are. I'm not saying that like everyone is the same, but the majority of people with schizophrenia, which is not DID, or DID, are not going to be the violent ones. They're going to be the victims of people who are violent. You know what I mean? People who are abusive. So I think the reason probably they didn't go completely into that because they didn't want to run into the Shyamalan issue, in which the secret ingredient was my multiple personalities are evil. You know what I mean? Because that could run into a lot of issues in itself, in which you demonize mental illness rather than kind of actually having a nuanced approach to it. So that, like, it's one of those things where you have to be very, very, very delicate with how you handle those subject matters, because you can very easily run into offensive territory. If you kind of just go willy-nilly with it was my evil second half all along. Because at the end of the day, the symbiotes, the aliens, they are not a separate personality per se. They are a separate entity forming symbiosis with another separate entity. So it is not like Eddie Brock split into two. It's Eddie Brock and Venom basically sharing the same body. It's them being weird roommates more so than it is a metaphor for mental illness. You know what I mean? Weird roommates with that are very, very messy. I don't know. Very, very messy roommates. And like, that's another thing too. That's with another thing I kind of wanted to talk about was what I did like was kind of the what's it called? Words. It's not a mirror. It's the kind of like the compare and contrast between the relationship between
like
Cassidy and Carnage.
The yin yang.
The parallels. The parallels.
Okay.
The parallels. The relationship between Eddie and Venom, and the relationship between Carnage and Cassidy. Because they even stated themselves where it's just like they're not symbiotic, they're not working together, and that's why like they're losing basically. Because they are not a good pair. And so, and you also see that with when it comes to Shriek and Anne too, and I want to talk more about Shriek too right now. Go ahead. Where it's like Eddie and Venom's love of Anne is also what helps them be a better team, versus Carnage and Cassidy being at odds when it comes to Shriek. You know what I mean? So like how Shriek is like it inhibits Carnage and Cassidy versus Anne, who empowers both Eddie and Venom.
What do you think about Shriek though? Do you think she's alive?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean,
I think she's dead.
I mean, it was a bell, which means there was it's a hollow space inside of it. They ripped out the thing that rings inside the bell. She could have just been easily tucked away. We never saw a body. You know the movie rules: no body, no death.
Yeah. I don't know, but at the same time, I don't know how they would bring her back. You know what I mean?
I don't think there's a need to. I feel like if the movie does well, I feel like this. If the character is well received overall, and if it makes sense for maybe, I don't know if the third one or somewhere down the line, if it makes sense in the future, she's alive. If it doesn't, she was dead.
Because like there was the teaser of her kind of passing on her powers to, I forgot his name. Damn.
The cop.
What's his name? The cop, yeah.
People are talking about that.
Is that what happened?
No,
she passed on her powers.
No, people are talking about that. But no, that cop, according to now, I never read any Carnage stuff, but in the comic books, that cop was played by a person who becomes another person that takes a symbiote. Like how Carnage is the spawn. Of Venom. Carnage also had his own spawns. In the comic book, like a character called Toxic, and that cop is. You
think that's what happened there?
A symbiote named Toxic is who that cop is. That character is according to people that read more of the comic books than me. So I was watching that a lot on TikTok. People were talking about that cop in the comic book is Toxic. Is that
so they're moving that along pretty fast.
Fast.
Like in the comics, that stuff
like Spider-Man's gonna have some stuff to deal with.
Yeah. Oh my God, that poor kid.
Toxic joins up with Spider-Man. He's a good guy because he's the cop, and so the cop tries to train his symbiote to not kill and be good, and kind of like how Eddie Brock is trying to do it with Venom, but Venom's more of like a anti-hero sort of thing and fights against Spider-Man. So in the comics, Toxic joins up with Spider-Man to fight against Venom and Carnage.
I didn't know about that. Real quick before, because I don't want to miss any of them. So I'm gonna go to the comment section real quick from JFS the reviewer. He goes, with the way they ended Venom 2, how do you think the sequel will go with Spider-Man? Who wants to take that one?
Well, I was wondering if because one of the trailers they showed was the trailer for the next Spider-Man and how he teams up with oh my goodness, blanking on names now. Help me out. Who's Doctor? Oh my goodness,
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. So he teams up with the plot of that movie is he teams up with Doctor Strange because the world has figured out who Spider-Man is,
right?
Because
and so he's not able to be anonymous anymore. People know who he is. They're calling him, a murderer for killing, I think, Mysterio or something.
Yeah, Mysterio.
Yeah, and so he goes to Doctor Strange. He's like, hey, can you just make everybody forget that I'm Spider-Man? Can we go back and just erase that from people's memory? And Doctor Strange is like, yeah, I got a spell. And then the other guy at the temple's like, Doctor Strange, don't do that. You're messing with something dangerous. And Doctor Strange is like, sure, I won't do it. Wink, wink. And so then he ends up doing it with casting that spell for Spider-Man. But then that messes with the space-time continuum, like the fabric of everything. And so it's almost like, looks like Inception, where the world's like, folding in on itself. And so with that, what I was kind of confused about, I'm like, okay, if they're trying to do that, where it's that Flash, the whole point of that Flash was to make everybody forget who Spider-Man was. But then right after the Flash, they see Spider-Man on TV without his mask, so they know who he is.
That's the thing about trailers. So we don't know
when that happens.
We don't know when that happens in the movie. We're taking things from clips that were pieced together in a trailer that might have been out of context. What we saw at the beginning of the trailer might be something that happened at the end of the movie, and what we saw at the end of the trailer might be something that happens at the beginning of the movie.
But what I'm saying, if that Flash was that spell that Doctor Strange did, where it's supposed to make everybody forget, because that spell messed with the space-time continuum, and so it's like putting them, it's messing with the fabric of reality, and then it could like have other universes collide and stuff like that. So because the Flash, then all of a sudden it's like it went from nighttime to daytime. They're in somebody else's room. They're like, where the hell are we? You know. So if that was them like going from one universe to the other or having universes merge, then I would be confused why they're showing Spider-Man without his mask right after that.
Have you seen Into the Spider-Verse?
I was just about.
No.
I know where you're going with this.
You haven't seen it? Okay, so we're gonna get into like deep spoilers, obviously, because we're talking about Spider-Man. That's Spider-Man for those of you who don't speak Amanda.
I think Amanda's about to give the answer that I was about to give. Go ahead. Take it away, Miss Marvel.
So basically, what happened? There's a theory also going around TikTok. So I'm gonna go into why Spider-Verse is important first, because if you saw the first movie, right? And you saw the after credit scene was a scene from Spider-Verse in Venom. So the first Venom movie, the after credit scene of that movie is a snippet of Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. So Spider-Verse and Venom do somehow exist, like at least on the same plane of existence. So what happened at the end of Venom 2 in the after credit scene, when they were on the vacation, they were on the bed, they were watching TV, and then all of a sudden everything glitched. That glitch looks exactly like the glitches that happened in Spider-Verse. So every time the multiverse kind of converged and like messed up in Spider-Verse, there was a kind of television glitch, and it looked exactly the same as it did.
So you're okay. So you're in the thinking. Okay, so here's the question. So the thing that brought. Okay, so let's talk. Okay, real quick. So let's talk about
is the Spider-Verse the animated one?
Yeah,
that's bringing all the different
into the Spider-Verse. So okay, so I posted this question on this channel for a polling. I said, what do you think was the thing that that caused that caused Eddie to come into the MCU? Was it what Wanda did, and when it was Wanda became the Scarlet Witch? Was it what happened in Loki? Was it what happened here or there? And people voted on it. I don't have the results up right now, and thank you guys for voting on it. But I never thought, because I didn't see those rumors, I never thought to enter that possibility into the because this is a good topic because it is Sony. And what happened in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse could be the thing that caused the interruption. Maybe simultaneously with the multiverse stuff that's happening in MCU. That's what I was thinking.
But people thought that, because remember, Loki's technically begins in 2012. Okay. Technically. So, and then as you guys know, if you guys have seen Loki, that everything, like time moves differently in the TVA, so time is not linear. Time is more like branches. So basically what the theory is on TikTok is that WandaVision, Loki, now I guess we have to add Spider-Verse, and Doctor Strange doing the spell all happened simultaneously.
That is okay. Jameson, you saw WandaVision and did you see Loki?
I saw Loki. I haven't seen WandaVision yet.
So okay, so without spoiling too much, there's the thing that happened in. Pay attention to what happened on the last episode of WandaVision whenever you see it, and think about the something that happens in the last episode of Loki. There's a moment on Loki. You said you saw Loki, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a moment on Loki where He Who Remains, when he stops being able to see the future, he said, we've just crossed. Remember that moment where he just paused and he was like, we just crossed the threshold. Okay, so on the last episode of WandaVision, at the exact same time, now this is too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence. At the exact same time, that was when you haven't seen WandaVision. I don't know if you care if I spoil it or not, but something happens at the last episode of WandaVision at the exact same time as when that happened at the last episode of Loki. So, and that's what we're talking about. Could it be what happened in WandaVision? Could it be what happened in Into the Spider-Verse? Could it be or could it be Doctor Strange's spell? Or could it be all of it happening at the exact same time? I'm more thinking that it's Doctor Strange's spell, but I'm sorry, what do you think, Amanda?
And then in Loki too, if you look in the background, in the windows where it goes out and you see all like the galaxy looking stuff, it starts turning red at the same timestamp as what happens in WandaVision. So red starts to spread out throughout the timelines as well.
Oh, okay. That indicates WandaVision.
So
to me.
So again, what I think, what you said, what I think what happened specifically with Doctor Strange and Peter, because remember, Peter started talking during the spell. He started interfering, and he started to basically like modify how the spell worked. And then like Strange even told him, it's like, you're messing up the spell. You need to stop talking.
Yeah.
So what I think, instead of making the world forget that
Peter
Parker was Spider-Man,
he just messed up the
I
spell
think what it
instead.
did was bring all the Spider-Man because like we see at the end of the trailer too, we see Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus from the Sam Raimi trilogy. We also hear the Green Goblin laugh and see the pumpkin bomb. We see stuff coming from other universes. Apparently Jamie Foxx is going to be in as what is it, Elektra? Apparently he's going to come back, which is from the Amazing Spider-Man universe, right?
Yeah.
So what I think happened is that at that moment also, it just kind of brought like all the Spider-Men into one.
Well, they explained that in Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, the reason why all those Spider-Man related, Spider-Man people came from those other universes into that movie is because when Spider-Man tried to stop Kingpin from doing what he was doing, I think like the machine that he was using, I think didn't Spider-Man interfere with it, and it zapped him, and that's why it was able to reach out to all the other Spider-Men in those other universes and pull them all together, because that Spider-Man, that energy was flowing through that Spider-Man, and it reached out to.
I need to rewatch Spider-Verse.
It's been a while since I'm trying to remember the physics behind it.
I'll buy it only for the fact that MCU and Sony are about to end their deal. And they need to justify the reason why Tom Holland is no longer in the MCU, and he's probably going to go into Venom's universe and pull a whole bunch of Spider-Man related people with him and whatnot. So if the theory is that what happened at the end of WandaVision, what happened at the end of Loki, what happened in the beginning of Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, were all those multiverse kind of things happening simultaneously. My question now becomes, how are they going to explain that real quick in I'm assuming No Way Home? When are they going to throw all that crap in there?
I think No Way Home is kind of going to be because you know how WandaVision was technically still its own contained thing. Right. Loki was still its own contained thing. Even What If, it's still, even though it is dealing with the multiverse, still its own contained series. I feel like Into the Spider-Verse is probably going to be its own contained thing within like the multiverse, and then Multiverse of Madness is when it's all just gonna it's all just gonna like
Doctor Strange 2, you mean?
Go crazy.
Yeah, okay, well, that makes sense. Let me go back to the conversation real quick. So what were your top 5 best and worst moments of Venom 2? That's from JFF's The Reviewer.
Who's that to? Everybody?
I don't have a top 5, but I already mentioned what I didn't like about it in the beginning of the movie. We already kind of I talked about. Okay, so you guys liked it. What didn't you like about Venom 2, Amanda?
What didn't I like? I think I would have preferred it to be a little bit longer so that they could fit more again of the relationship. Like I would have more so believed Carnage at the end. Well, not Carnage, Cassidy at the end. If he would have actually had like a fond relationship with Eddie,
yeah,
because they were both just jerks to each other,
yeah,
and there was no mutual respect or fondness. They were just basically just a reporter and an inmate, and that was it. That was their relationship, and the only reason they really it's not even explained why he wanted Eddie so much. You know what I mean? It's not even explained why he wanted Eddie to be the one to report on him. What was the reason? Why did you want this greasy ass guy to be the one to report?
What did you say, Jameson?
Didn't know
the sweaty guy.
What was it?
This greasy man. You didn't know at that point. Cassidy didn't
sweaty
know
and sloppy
that Eddie had Venom or anything. He didn't know that there was a secret or anything. He didn't know anything about Eddie other than the fact that Eddie was a person.
He respected Eddie's journalism style.
But even then, it's what? We didn't even see him reading any articles articles that Eddie made. It would have made more sense if he had like collected his shit or whatever.
Yeah, like if there was pictures all over the walls
like he had,
of Eddie
it
Brock.
would have made sense if he had like a weird hyper fixation on Eddie and you just saw him reading through his articles and like for some reason feeling this kinship with this dude.
Yeah,
like it would have made more sense had there been.
That would have been where an extra like 10 or 15 more minutes would have been useful. Like
there should have been like, especially like after like the whole like alien like explosion thing, like he should have had like pictures of that in his cell. Like he should have had like a reason to give a shit about Eddie, basically.
You're
and there was
right.
no reason for him to give a shit about Eddie other than the fact that Eddie, he was gonna bite him and then get the weird Carnage baby.
For all we know, he flipped a coin and just picked the journalist.
Exactly. Like it's like there was a wheel that he spun and it was just like garbage goober and Jerry spin again. Like that's what it was. And then it just landed on Eddie. He's like, okay, this
it was either Oprah Winfrey or Eddie Brock. It just landed on Eddie. Real quick. Jason Bell says, did y'all like or dislike that Carnage was killed off?
I feel that's another thing too, where it's like I feel like there should have been like a more explanation of Carnage, especially if like you're not a comic reader. Because like I know of the comics, I do not actively read comics. You know what I mean? I know of them, I know storylines that happen in them, but I am a movie watcher. I like to watch the movies, I like to watch the series.
Right.
So I think if somebody's going in blind and they're just kind of like, okay, well, what was the what? Like, it just kind of seems like he came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So I feel, especially since like he calls Venom father, so obviously like that's his dad, and Venom doesn't really seem to give a shit that like he had a baby.
That is a red one.
Like he doesn't. He just kind of like he's like, oh shit, that's a red one, and that's all he does. That's the only thing he acknowledges. He doesn't acknowledge the fact that like that's his son. You know what I mean?
Venom was like a deadbeat dad. He's like, holy shit, that's a red one. I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna go buy some milk. And he never comes back.
And he never returns.
He never returns.
Eats his son like the guy that that painting of the god eating his like children.
Yeah,
that was Venom in this movie. Because like at the end of the day, like I saw that, I'm like, okay, so obviously Carnage is kind of salty about Venom being his dad, and Venom does not really care. Like Venom is just kind of like, oh, it's a red one, I don't really want to fight it. Like it's kind of scary.
Venom's got more things to worry about with trying to get Eddie and Ann back together. Why do I got to deal with this red dude right now? What the fuck?
This red dude. Like, he made the red dude though. That's it.
Well, so here's the question. Do you think, what do you think, Jameson, Amanda, what do you think? Now, okay, he kills Cassidy. Okay, but he kills him by doing what? He ate his brain. He ate his Carnage came from Venom. So, and then he reabsorbed Carnage. So somewhere deep inside of Venom's DNA is the brain, or a lot of the DNA of Cassidy and Carnage. Can Carnage come back? Can Cassidy and Carnage come back?
Well, I know in like the comics, like I know that like Venom has other kids that are not just Carnage. So I don't know how they're gonna play it in the movies though.
I mean, I kind of laid out the blueprint. I mean, he's got with the whole. That's why I was purposely talking about the DNA stuff. I feel like Woody Harrelson. If like I'll put it like I said about Shriek. If the fans receive it well enough, if it keeps crushing
Woody
it,
Harrelson lost his head though. I feel like that's kind of hard to come back.
And lost his head to Venom, absorbed by Venom, and digested. So the DNA is still there technically. I know, right?
They don't really show that with anybody else he eats, though.
But nobody else that he ate got a symbiote.
Yeah.
But the symbiote also came from him, so wouldn't that just be re-eating a part of himself?
That's the other question: is can he reabsorb another symbiote? When he did that, I was like, is that even possible? Because like in
let us know. Let us know in the comment section. Is that a thing that happens?
He really said, "I brought you into this world, and I will take you out."
Pretty much.
I will take you out. Yeah, exactly. I love that about it.
I wish like going back to how short it was and everything, and so we already kind of complained about this if you want to go to like the 5 complaints, but like I wish that this was more of a series, like a TV show, like an R-rated TV show, where they could have gone deeper into it, because they could have had a bigger relationship between Eddie and Cassidy, and then Carnage and Venom, and I don't think they're going to bring Carnage back, but I mean, in the comics, like Carnage is around for a while. In fact, Toxin is, I think, Carnage's kid, not Venom's, right? And so it's and then they, like I said, Venom and Carnage end up teaming up for a bit to fight against Toxin, because Toxin's even more powerful. So the way it works, I guess, in the symbiote world is each child is more powerful than the father.
You evolve and become the next generation is usually stronger.
Yeah, and so like in the comics, so I think they said like, I mean, my numbers are probably gonna be off here, but Venom can lift like 20 tons, and then Carnage can lift like 100 tons. Like, he's that much stronger, and then Toxin's even stronger than that. And so it would have been interesting to see like the development between all the different symbiotes and
I see what you're saying. Yeah, which is probably why it would
biting his head off.
Yeah, which is probably why it would make sense that he would want to get with get on to Spider-Man's body, because Spider-Man's human body is already strong. So that's maybe that they're doing that whole Spider-Man Eddie story in reverse, though, if you think about it.
That's another thing too, where it's like, we see that at the end of the movie, it's kind of clear that Venom recognized that Peter. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
You don't think he did?
A lot of people are saying that. I just think that okay, so when I first saw the movie, I didn't think of is maybe what happened in the end of the Spider-Verse is the reason why Eddie was pulled into the MCU, or Doctor Strange pulled him into the MCU. One of the things that I thought maybe it was a combination of all those things, maybe. And one of the things that I think made it more possible was when Venom, because remember what Venom and Eddie were talking about. I can show you a bunch of other things in this universe that I've seen that would fry your brain, but let me give you a little piece of it so you can see what I'm talking about. And the second he did that, I think that kind of started to tap into what maybe Doctor Strange was doing, or Wanda, or whatever, or the Spider that started to interfere and tap into it. Maybe like now I'm thinking more into the Spider-Verse stuff. Maybe that's what it was.
Would that also imply that Venom is like interdimensional as well as like able to go to multiple worlds?
Exact. For all we know, maybe this is an alien entity that.
True.
Okay. In the comic book, he's just a big slime ball, but scientists all agree that if we ever meet aliens, if aliens ever come to our world, they are we know for a fact that they are going to be more advanced than us, because they were right there off the bat. They have ability to go from one planet to another, and we don't have that. We haven't. Our science isn't that strong yet. Let's not underestimate Venom and his people, because they're slime balls. They are probably way more advanced than humans ever will be. They need to be attached to other entities to survive. But that conversation, I feel like that brief little 1 minute conversation with Venom and Eddie about like what he's seen in this universe and stuff like that. It'll fry your brain if I showed it all to you, but let me give you a little taste of it. It made me think Venom is way more advanced than we realize. He's not just some entity that can just take over a body and make it stronger. He's an advanced life form, way above our humans. So I don't know. What do you think?
Well, yeah, and that was something I thought was interesting. It's like they brought that up at the end, right? And it's like I didn't know that symbiotes had a hive mind, right? So that's almost like saying like you can tap into the internet, right? You have all this knowledge, and so it's like if he is that advanced and smart, why does he act so dumb all the time?
I mean, it's kind of like I think the reason why it's because I think it's kind of like Elon Musk.
Comedic relief, but
where it's like you can be a genius and you can be really smart.
Venom is socially awkward on his planet.
Yeah, like Venom. We have to remember that Venom is a loser where he came from.
Exactly.
Like Venom is like
he's the Windows 95 of the Sims.
Yeah, he's the Mike. What was it? The really bad he was Windows Vista.
Yeah.
Windows
Vista. That's what. If the symbiote was not the most advanced where he came from.
If symbiotes were social media, he's MySpace.
Not even MySpace. He's probably like I don't even,
AOL or something like
he's
that.
like AOL like messenger chat. Like
Yeah.
but like so that's like where he comes from. He's the loser. He's the Eddie, basically.
Yeah.
He's like the trying to be like cool, but like definitely not gonna be cool.
Yeah.
And so I don't think intelligence, like I do think intelligence and personality does go hand in hand. However, I don't think that being smart and being like a silly, goofy person or symbiote in this case, and being kind of a mess of a human or symbiote in this case, is like, I don't think it's just mutually exclusive. I think you can be both. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think you can be both like a full-on mess of like a being, as well as a highly advanced being, if that makes any sense.
Sinister, real quick, Sinister Six. That's another topic that's coming up. Everybody thinks that Venom is the sixth person. That's going to be in No Way Home.
The sixth what?
The sixth villain for so in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Okay, we have Doc Ock. We have like all these other. We have Electro. We have all these other villains that they think that this is a setup for the Sinister Six, and people believe that Venom is the sixth person. We have Sandman, Electro. We have all these Vulture, all these other guys. I don't believe.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he is. I don't think Venom is the sixth member. Did you know? What about you, Jameson? Do you think? Did you know anything about that, or did you? You're not.
I have no idea what the Sinister Six is.
Yeah, Spider-Man's main villains, they usually come together.
Basically, just like
Sinister Six. There's a Sinister 60. There's a Sinister 7. But it's usually just mostly a team up of Spider-Man villains. They think that that's what we're about to see in No Way Home. The team up of all these villains.
I think he's more so going to take up the lethal protector role than he is going to be like in the Sinister Six. I think him and Eddie are kind of just like the package deal that go off together, and that's it. You know what I mean? I don't think they're adding anybody else to their vigilantism, I guess.
I agree. I mean, he's trying to be a protector. He would have no reason to join the Sinister Six. He doesn't know those guys.
Well, I mean, they've made him they've made him a good guy in the movie so far.
Exactly.
You know, so that would be kind of a flip for him to. I mean, I know that's his role in the comics, but like you know,
if they did the story the traditional way where Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker and all that stuff, and they did it that way, then it would make more sense. But in the movie version, we're getting the relationship between Eddie Brock and Peter Parker in reverse. He's already Venom, and Venom meets Eddie first, and then now he's going to be by Spider. So it doesn't it doesn't make sense for the Sinister.
Well, and in the Spider-Man movies, they already had one with Venom where he fought Venom too.
Well, I mean that's some. What is it? Here's the question: is it possible?
Is it the same Venom?
No, but that was my question. Since if it's possible that we're gonna get Tom Holland to meet the other versions of Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield,
you can get the different versions of Venom.
Do you think there's gonna be a slight? What is the chances that Tom Hardy meets the Sam Raimi Venom? What do you think the chances are of that? They bring was that actor's name?
Eddie, what's his name? Topher Grace.
What are the chances that Tom Hardy meets Topher Grace?
Topher Grace.
That Venom.
I don't know, because we did get the because I almost called him Green Lantern. Holy shit, Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Is technically dead. In the Sam Raimi trilogy, but he still is going to pop up.
They explained that like the explanation of that online is that when the multiverse opens up, they pull all of those Spider-Man villains from the
point in time when they were
about to die and pull them all. So the same thing was to happen to Venom.
Because remember the little the what are they called, the metal poles, and then they made all that noise, and then they went and then and then like Topher Grace's Venom.
If Topher Grace's Venom, nobo's talking about that. I believe we are the first people online.
T3 Media is exclusive.
We did.
Topher Grace's Eddie Brock
will be
also die.
That would be
will be the sixth member of the Sinister Six, and that's when Eddie Brock goes, no, fuck, like just like you said in Venom 2, fuck this guy. It's gonna be Tom Hardy versus Topher Grace's Venom.
But that also implies like, but here's the thing: if Venom technically, and then I'm just assuming here, I'm not like being like this is the facts. Like I don't know. If it is to imply that Venom is multidimensional, like would there be another variation of Venom? Like
Topher Grace?
Like, but not like the symbiote Venom. Like not because Venom is still a separate entity from Eddie. He's still they're just again they're just
that makes sense because if there are multiple Spider-Man, if there are multiple Electros, or there are multiple Iron Man, yeah, there should be multiple Venoms.
I'm still kind of like, but there was kind of a familiarity. I feel like he was familiar with like Spider-Man though. At least Spider-Man, maybe not Tom Holland Spider-Man, but a Spider-Man.
So I'm trying to understand your question. Do your question? Do you think that every symbiote, every version of Venom in every universe is still the same? Is still the same Venom? Not there is no variant of these symbiotes. Is that your question?
I guess so. Are there variants of symbiotes?
That would be. I know what you're getting at, but that would be very sci-fi and hard to explain in a movie. Like they would
because
really.
What I'm not understanding is why he was so fixated on Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because why would he be fixated on that? Would just be a random ass kid on the screen.
I'm gonna say no because then at in that end credit scene when Eddie looked at the image of Spider-Man on TV, he would have because what Venom now knows, Eddie knows, and he would have recognized him. I don't think he recognized Spider-Man. So even if
is there a Peter Parker in Eddie's universe? Is there a Spider-Man at all?
No. Okay. So because that's what I thought your question was. I thought you were saying that is it possible that Tom Hardy's Venom could be connected cosmically to the Spider-Man 3 Venom? Like all the Venoms in every universe are mentally connected. I thought that's what you were saying. But
that could also be a possibility.
I don't think that's gonna be because
I don't know.
I don't think Venom recognized Spider. I think he was fascinated about what he was seeing, and since they want to be the lethal protectors, the TV was saying Spider-Man is a murderer. He's a this and that. So okay, we're stuck. We've been pulled into this universe for some weird reason, and the TV is telling me that this guy that calls himself Spider-Man is a murderer. Let's go get him. I think that's what's gonna happen.
That could be possible.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the part where I screamed was when J. Jonah Jameson popped up on this TV. As soon as I heard his voice, I was like, ah!
What do you got? Okay, real quick. Let me go back to the comment section real quick. Let's see. Jason Bell, did you? Okay, we already read that. Dyer, he's in the chats. He's saying, that was me with Shang. He says that was me with Shang-Chi. I saw it 2 weeks early and wanted to talk about it so bad with people. Oh, back when Amanda was talking about how you couldn't talk about the embargo. Yeah, the embargo lifted on Venom the same week that it was released. That's usually to most people who go to pre-screenings. That's usually a sign that a movie might be bad. But what I heard later was that Sony, because of the way it was received by critics on the first one, but it was loved by the audience on the first one. The reason why they didn't allow critics to talk about it on the right before the movie was released was because they wanted to cater to the audience more than the critics. But I thought, to me personally, I thought that was a mistake. But Jason Bell also says, I hate that Carnage was made from a bite. He hated that. I thought that made sense. I
thought it made sense.
I thought it made sense. I liked it.
Given how little time they spent on their interaction before, it made sense. But like I said, going back to the whole, they should have interacted more, throughout the movie. Yeah, I agree. I agree with
would that always happen?
It was just kind of rushed.
That is a good question. Like,
that always happen?
All you have to do is bite Eddie.
If Eddie gets bitten again with Venom still in him, would that make another weird Venom baby? Would that always happen?
So Venom is now a sexually transmitted disease. That's all I'm
saying. Venom's an STD.
Yeah, Venom is Venom 3 STD. You already hear. Let's. There's a clip. there's a clip that's gonna probably be on Amanda's TikTok.
I'm gonna ask my friends, be like, "Yo, if Venom, if anybody else bites Eddie, will they get a mini Venom?"
Yeah.
Well, here's a question I had too. Going back to the hive mind thing. If they're all a hive mind, wouldn't Venom and Carnage be able to read each other's minds? and see
From-
where they're at?
No, well, from what I think from whenever they separate, they eventually become two. I don't think there's a mental connection like that, because like from the cartoon on Spider-Man the animated series from the 90s, when Peter Parker rejected Venom and then that the symbiote found Eddie was instantly blessed with the knowledge of everything that he was able to read from Peter Parker's brain when he was absorbed with Peter. So Eddie instantly knew who Peter Parker was because Venom told him. So I think there's only a connection when you're physically, connected. But like across bodies, I don't think there's a connection. I don't think they can.
Well, but I mean, like a hive mind. If you think of like Ender's Game, right? Like all the bugs are connected by a hive mind.
Yeah, like the way like bees and ants. And stuff. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
but I don't think so.
When he brought that up, he's like, it's like he could see into all the different minds of all the different symbiotes across the universe, and he's like, your puny mind wouldn't be able to handle all this, and so I'm like, if there really is a hive mind,
I think what he was talking about was
his own experience.
Was his what Venom was able to has experienced throughout his travels through space. He wasn't talking about like if I connect you to the hive mind. I think he was like, if I show you what is stored in my memories, your puny human brain couldn't handle it. My symbiote brain can absorb a lot more. But so I'll give you a taste of what I've experienced through for what we know is thousands of years of space travel or millions of years of existence. Like Venom could be millions of years old or billions of years old for all we know. We don't know. I felt like that's what he was talking about. But real quick, this is funny. Jameson, you might know this commenter. 26 Constance is, I think, talking to bringing up what I brought up earlier. I like your eyebrows, Chris. Tell Constance to stop trolling.
How nice.
Like whatever. You're like Constance. Constance.
You were complaining about not getting compliments now. Now you get a compliment, and
I don't trust it.
You're gonna say something like, maybe that's why you don't get compliments.
What is a black man without his paranoia? But anyway, so let me. Real quick, dire situation cosplay adventures says, or going back to our old conversation, Cletus Cassidy, who was trying to tell us remind us who Cletus is. Mulligan becomes toxic. Yeah, we talked about that. Y'all need me on here. I'm sorry, Dyer, you didn't make it in time, man. I was like, you didn't let me know what time you were going to be available. I couldn't just bring. Actually, I could have. I could have sent him a link, but we're already over time already on this episode. This, believe it or not, Amanda, I try to make this a 30-minute show.
Oh, really?
We've already gone over an hour, and I know I don't know whenever you need to chime off. I know that we've already gone over. That's why I'm trying to quickly go through the comment section real quick and see if there's anything that we might have missed. Riot absorbs Venom. We've already talked about that. His name is Toxin, not Toxic. We were being corrected by Dyer. Jason Bell says very, very high. I'm sorry, Jason. I don't know. I didn't know what you're talking about when. Oh, Jason Bell says Rhino will be the 6th member. Rhino from Amazing Spider-Man 2. I hope not. I hated that version of Rhino. I hated it. I am a killer. No. That's all I got to say about that. But any last things that we want to talk about? I know we kept you longer than I normally do, man. I know you got a lot. I know you have to get to your homies real quick. Guys, if you are not following Amanda on TikTok, what the hell are you waiting for? Follow her. If you have TikTok, I said that I was going to tease her about this. Amanda recently was being shadow banned on TikTok, and then the very next day went ultra viral. So my theory is that all you have to do on TikTok to go viral is tell TikTok that you feel like you're being shadow banned, or be a person like Amanda on TikTok, which is awesome and entertaining, and then good things come to you. Because I've been on TikTok myself, and I'm boring as hell, and nobody likes me, and that's why I only have like 2,000 followers. But Amanda is creative, funny, smart. Oh. She knows her shit. She's funnier than a little bit, and she has good vibes and good energy. But when she said that she was being shadow banned, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It triggered me and all of her other supporters. We instantly were like, TikTok, no. And then the gods came together, the universe and the stars aligned, and then now Amanda, I feel like I feel like your channel is your page on TikTok is growing and going in the direction where it should have been going all along. I feel like there's nothing but good things coming your way. I'm glad that you were able to join us here today to talk a little bit about Venom.
Thank you.
We're gonna go into the next topic later on, and I know you don't want to get spoiled on that, but if you don't mind, if there's any last thing about Venom that you want to talk about real quick, anything you want to bring up, or if not, if you want to let everybody know where they can find you online, let us know.
So yeah, overall enjoyed the movie. Probably gonna watch it again. Definitely also before No Way Home. Mm-hmm. And if you guys want to find me, follow my content. I'm on TikTok. I'm on TikTok most of the time. And it's at Amanda Just Vibin. So Amanda, my name, Just, and then Vibin with no G. And I'm also the same name on Instagram. And mostly my story, I don't really post pictures unless something cool is happening or unless I do a cosplay. But I also just post random shit on my stories. So if you just want to see me rant about things or just like see me exist, then you can also follow me on Instagram. But yeah. And I also have a Twitter. I don't really post on Twitter, but like it's there. And it's the same name, Amanda Just Vibin.
Exactly. Awesome. And so guys, once again, I'll thank Amanda for joining us. I'm sorry I kept you over time, but it was a great talk. We're gonna get into our Venom talk. So go follow Amanda on TikTok. And thank you guys for joining us on our Venom discussion. Thank you for complimenting my eyebrows, Constance. I know I can't take a compliment. I apologize. But I'm not going to pretend like my eyebrows are going to compete with Amanda's over there. She's, awesome. she can't take a compliment either. Look, she always cheeses when you compliment her. She's like, come on, stop it. But I appreciate you, Amanda. And look, right. I hope if you don't, I talked about this before you got on. We are doing a movie trivia on this channel. If you ever want to compete, I'm gonna invite you. I'll reach out to you and see if you ever want to compete on that. So maybe about Marvel stuff. What do you think? What do you think you would want to compete in if you want to go one-on-one with somebody? What's your game?
Probably like now that I've just been like really like into Marvel like movies and TV lately. Probably Marvel stuff.
Marvel, okay, all right. So maybe let's see who wants to go to one-on-one with Amanda. So maybe if I'll give her advance notice if Amanda wants to compete in the T3 Media's movie trivia game. Who wants to go one-on-one with the queen of TikTok herself, Amanda, out there? We'll find out. Maybe it'll be me. Who knows? I don't think she's ready, but we'll see. But Amanda, thank you again for joining us. I appreciate you.
Thank
and
you.
I'll let you go. I know we went over time, and I appreciate you for joining us. So
Alrighty, see.
Our supporters help make all this content possible, so make sure you check out our Patreon page so you can help us bring you the content you want.
Push the pedal to the freaking metal. I'm turned up just like heavy metal. Yo. Turned up on another level. Push the pedal to the freaking metal. I'm turned up just like heavy metal.